Coming up this week, off screen, Owen Wilson and his family find there's no escape from a civil uprising. We spend some time with me and Earl and the Dying Girl. Jesse Eisenberg is American Ultra. The Transporter gets refueled in, can you guess the name of the film? The Transporter Refuelled. And Meryl Streep introduces us to Ricki and the Flash. All of those to come and more off screen.
This is Off Screen. Off Screen. Off Screen. Off Screen. With the latest film news and reviews, this is Off Screen, the on-screen radio show.
Welcome to Off Screen, I'm Van Connor.
My name is Kase Allen.
So shall we start with Ricki and the Flash this week then,
let's do that. This is Meryl Streep. Is she back on Oscar-winning form?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Because you go into the film and you do think, right, so, what's she getting nominated for this
It's Meryl,
year?
yeah, exactly.
And yeah, so of course this is the latest. Is it Jonathan Demme or Ted Demme? Was one of them
Jonathan.
Jonathan. Because Ted is departed, sadly, isn't he?
I believe so.
And Jonathan. Okay, so
Silence of the Lambs. And
was it
that's
Ted
Jonathan.
who did the Silence of the Lambs? Or
No, Jonathan. Jonathan did Silence of the Lambs in Philadelphia.
Ted did comedies, didn't he? Because
Yes.
he did the Dennis Leary one I love so much.
It's kind of like a Ridley Scott, Tony Scott dynamic, I guess.
It is,
Yeah.
although in that case, I think we lost the more talented Scott. I'm just going to say it. I prefer Tony.
I would agree there.
But so obviously this is from Jonathan Demme, and this is Meryl Streep as aging rocker Ricki and her backup band The Flash, hence the rather clever title. Having been estranged from her family for what seems to be several decades, Ricki is contacted by her ex-husband, played by Kevin Kline, and isn't it nice to see Kevin Kline?
It's
back
great
on
to see
screen?
Kevin Kline.
It's always
yeah.
nice. I miss him. When he was
He's
in
great,
the
yeah.
film.
Yeah, he's Dave, isn't he?
Yeah, he was Dave.
He's
I
Dave for
missed that.
president.
Yeah. I once got a fish this big. So, Meryl Streep was contacted by her ex-husband, played by Kevin Kline, who tells her that her daughter, her now adult daughter, played by Mamie Gummer, who is in fact, of course,
Her
Meryl
daughter.
Streep's real daughter, has been cheated on, is going through a divorce, and is going off the rails. And if she could spare the time, would Ricki really mind coming home and cheering up her kid? Here's a clip.
I don't have any money. You have a credit card?
Yeah, but it's still linked to Max's account.
Oh, that's not a problem. Hop in!
Not more than half an inch. I can feel how much you're cutting.
Someday you're gonna find a gray hair, and I don't mean on your head.
Look like Nosferatu.
Oh, don't worry, they file them down.
That's $190 on the card, and you can add whatever to.
Let's leave a nice big one, shall we?
Right, so you can't really have missed this, because there seems to be sort of a weird hype around this. Like, it's not
yeah.
Oscar hype. It's sort of, you will love this movie kind of a hype.
Yeah, it's kind of your mum's gonna love it, and your auntie, and probably you. Yeah,
It is very much.
That's
and then you actually get to, as you get nearer the film, you think, okay, it's Diablo Cody. How well's this really going to go? Because Diablo Cody is a bit of a ropey one.
It can be a bit sketchy. Sometimes she can be really, really good. Sometimes really, really bad.
And here's the strange thing about Ricki and the Flash. It says once and for all that Diablo Cody has lost her edginess somewhat. Because there was always the thing with Diablo Cody where the rough edges of her writing were what made her writing so enjoyable. It's what made Juno so enjoyable. Because that was really the first teen mumblecore flick, I would argue, I think.
One of the first, yeah, definitely. I mean, it kind of brought a lot of people to the...
It did. It made mumblecore,
yeah.
I would say, more mainstream, more tolerable in the mainstream, I think. And it was done in that deceptively teenage package, even though the film really isn't that much of a teen movie in a sense. And also it made a star out of Ellen Page, really. But here, Diablo Cody's rough edges seem to have just been polished away, buffed out,
smoothed out, yeah.
And it shows in terms of how much you enjoy the film, because when the film gets to the more in-your-face family dynamic, we all have differences, we're family, we don't like each other, but we love each other, that kind of aesthetic, Diablo Cody's irrelevant and it works. When it gets to the plot mechanics, the film is so middle of the road. Like, just really, I mean, this thing is narrowly avoiding traffic.
Really going through emotions with it, yeah.
Real, and particularly as it comes to the close of the film, it goes really, pardon the term, it goes really Hollywood. And it doesn't jive with the film.
Just from the trailers, it seems to have that kind of sheen to it.
It is way too polished for one thing. I mean, put it this way: for a 50-ish rocker chick, Ricki is rather a clean cut. I will say. I mean. Meryl Streep's version of an off-the-rails
That's the thing.
middle-aged
I don't know if
rocker.
that just comes from Meryl though.
I think Meryl Streep is slightly too classy, but I don't think it's that. I think it is. There is a directorial stance. I think that we're making a polished family drama, and there doesn't seem to be a visual or tonal effort to give it much in the way of grit or bite or very similar to.
I do very much like the idea of it. I like the idea.
The idea is great.
I just don't know if Meryl. Obviously, Meryl is Queen Meryl. Maybe Susan Sarandon could have done something like this, or Alison Janney, or
I
just.
think you said Susan Sarandon a while back when we had that conversation.
Potentially, yeah. I love Susan Sarandon. So.
Who doesn't?
I say, yeah.
But I mean, Meryl Streep is enjoying herself.
Tim Robbins. That's
who
your
doesn't
answer.
love. Okay, yeah. Possibly Sean Penn, not sure. So Meryl Streep is enjoying herself here, and it shows. And it's hard not to get into the sort of infectious spirit that she provides because Meryl Streep, she does that very well. When she's having fun, you're having fun. That's always been Meryl Streep's thing. That's what made. I rewatched Death Becomes Her recently, and it's always been there. Yeah,
absolutely.
Kevin Kline, great as a sort of put upon dad, but not really given that much of a part, save for a couple of token scenes. And then, of course, the elephant in the room really is Mamie Gummer, whom she's great performance and everything, but there's no movie star quality to her. There's no lead quality to her at all either. She's not a particularly engaging performer. And you do feel like what you are watching is, Hollywood-sanctioned nepotism at its finest.
Okay, yeah.
And you cannot avoid that. And when you've got the middle-of-the-road nature of the film as well, and that very in-your-face sort of nepotism, it's hard not to walk away with a bit of a sour taste afterwards, particularly given the very hokey way in which it closes.
So maybe watch it on a Sunday afternoon with your mum if there's nothing else on.
Probably. My mum would love it. Actually, the thing with Ricki and the Flash all the way through, I kept thinking, remember Snake Eyes with Nicolas Cage? When he keeps saying, I'm Ricki! I'm Ricki! it was that kind of
I watched that
moment.
recently, actually.
I loved that movie
So
when it
good.
came out. That was a very fun De Palma flick. Yeah. Right, some film news then.
Let's do some film news.
There's some bits even I didn't know, because obviously I've been out the loop all day today.
Absolutely, yeah.
So Selena Gomez. She apparently has joined the cast of Bad Neighbours 2 or Neighbours 2 : Sorority Rising.
I hate that. I hate that subtitle.
To play a rival for Chloe Moretz.
Oh, that's interesting.
Actually, you know what? As an on-screen sort of pairing, I could see that kind of working.
Because I thought she would fit into this kind of Dave Franco role. So
I thought
do you know what I mean?
that it would be she would be the sort of token best friend kind. I don't know. I mean, I'm not terribly sure where this plot's going to go because it doesn't seem straightforward. I half expected it would just be the same concept again.
Yeah,
but
stick with what worked.
Stick with what worked. Yeah. We'll just change the gender of the enemy next door, and that's it. What else we got? Oh, Mark Ruffalo has revealed that Hulk was included originally in Captain America: Civil War, a film which is going to come up later in another story, which is far darker.
Yeah.
Civil War was originally going to feature Mark Ruffalo's take on the Hulk. Apparently, though, he was cut, and the line has been, "We're saving him for something bigger."
Yes, that's what he said.
Yeah.
That's teasing, isn't it?
That is really teasing. Why is it? I mean,
we shall see.
I love that they've not overexposed the Hulk, no pun intended. But you know,
you don't want it to feel too.
I want more Hulk, but I don't.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, in small doses.
Yeah. Small radiation doses. Jason Momoa, have you heard of this latest film he's doing?
Oh, he's a lumberjack and he's okay.
He is a lumberjack and he's okay. He's going to be a lumberjack battling drug runners in a movie called Braven. How was
called Braven, is it, right?
I'm picturing the opening of Commando when Schwarzenegger was just casually walking along carrying the log over his shoulder.
When he's got the ice cream for the kid.
That's one of my favourite openings to a movie ever. Yeah. And in fact, back when you used to run the film quiz at Cineworld, didn't you once use the intro music from Commando for the Guess the Intro round?
Yes, I did. Not many people got it as well.
Oh, I did. Because you can't mistake that brilliant thing.
It was one of those instances where you played it and people were like, what's this? And then when you tell them, they're like, oh, of course it is.
I was always shocked how many people didn't get the Can You Dig It theme from Iron Man 3, but that's just me personally. Right, this is news that will bring a tear to Chris Wilson's eye when he hears it. A live-action Mega Man movie is coming. Now, okay, the video game thing...
Yeah.
Could
I'm not too familiar with Mega Man, so I'm not as invested as what Wilson would be.
Did you ever see Astro Man a couple of years ago? 2009?
Yeah, I did have that on pleasure,
I think I know why you saw Astro Boy,
Astro Boy, yeah, I know you mean.
I know why you saw it, because didn't Nicolas Cage provide the voice of someone in the film, I think.
Forget who,
either
but
the
yes.
creator or Astro Boy himself.
It's not Astro Boy.
Yeah, but it's basically that plot. It's like a Commander Data, but he's a warrior kind of a figure. But say based on the umpteen video games based around the character, it's going to, I think it'll be huge. It's going to be nerd central when that movie comes out. Expect a lot of merchandise.
When is that coming out?
Well, there's no set date or anything yet. It's just something Fox have now put it into active development with the producers of the Planet of the Apes, the last two Planet of the Apes movies.
Really?
So
That's interesting.
That should be interesting. I mean,
good.
They can obviously produce good work, and I think there's enough meaningful, emotional stuff and character arcs that you can draw out of Mega Man. I think.
Okay.
On then to American Ultra, which this has been advertised quite heavily. I think over the last couple of weeks.
It has, probably because it didn't do that well in the States.
It didn't, and it's gotten quite bad pre-release reviews.
Pretty scathing, yeah.
Pretty scathing. My favourite one was The Guardian, who said it was as funny as smoking oregano. So we shall see.
Is that from personal experience? Have we tried that?
I don't know who at The Guardian has been smoking oregano.
Been told that it was weed.
I think so.
It's oregano.
But right, so you've got American Ultra, which is from Nemo Norizada, who is the director of Project X, as you and I have just discovered.
We just found that out. Yeah.
Funnily enough, the lead in Project X is also the star of Me and Earl and the Dying Goat, reviewing in a bit.
We'll be talking about it later.
Yep. This is also written by Max Landis, which is of note, and this does become an issue in a moment. Right, so this is the story of Mike Howell, who is basically a feckless stoner who works in a convenience store and is suddenly attacked one day by clandestine CIA operatives, only to discover that he himself, Jason Bourne style, is actually a memory-wiped super assassin and has basically the memory muscle. Muscle memory. Muscle memory.
Just gets reawoken.
Yeah, reawoken within him that he can just instantly take everyone down, speak foreign languages, and he knows how to operate tanks, etc. Here's a clip.
Chariot progressive, listen. Mandelbrot set is in motion. Echo Choir has been fielding the ball. Chariot progressive. Listen. Chariot progressive.
Is that a lyric from something? Do you want your soup? Hey, stop doing stuff to my car.
Hey, babes, what's up?
Hey, I just killed 2 people.
That's awesome.
No, they had guns and knives and they were being like total dicks. I took a spoon and I just I shoved it through this guy.
Why are people trying to stab you?
I don't know, but I'm freaking out. I have a lot of anxiety about this.
So Jesse Eisenberg, Kristen Stewart, Connie Britton, Topher Grace, Johnny Legs himself, John Leguizamo.
Yeah. Well, that does sound fun.
It does sound fun. What's wrong with it? Okay, first and foremost, you get the impression within a few minutes of the film starting that what you're watching is an adaptation of a cult early 90s graphic novel. It's not, but it feels like it throughout. And then when you get to the very end of the film and it says written by Max Landis, you think, okay, right, that kind of adds up. And actually, weirdly, the problems are not on the page. The problems with the film seem to be, well, they are on the page in one sense in that it's not actually funny. There are a handful of laughs scattered throughout, but the film simply isn't funny. You've then got the issue of the cast and the director all seem to collectively want a very different tone to what we're getting. I think for what you think the project is going to be, which is effectively the Bourne Identity in the style of Zombieland, if you can imagine, that's kind of what you expect from the project. The only person going for that seems to be Topher Grace. Of all people, never would have thought that. And to another degree, and this person is also the undisputed just star of this film, Walton Goggins.
He's so good.
I love Walton Goggins.
Cannot wait for Hateful Eight because of him.
If I tell you that his role in this film is best described as menacingly flamboyant, would that sell it to you?
Does he wear some kind of fancy sunglasses?
No, he does not.
That is a shame.
He plays a character called Laffer.
Laffer,
who is an ex-mental patient brainwashed into a CIA assassin who laughs like a hyena as he comes up to kill you.
Take my money.
Who has all his teeth blown out and develops a speech impediment as a result.
As a result of that. Wow.
Yes, he's gone full Texas Chainsaw sequel kind of mode on it. In fact, he's in House of a Thousand Corpses, isn't he? So it's kind of like that kind of wacky, out there, psychopath kind of thing. Undisputed star of the film, Jesse Eisenberg, weirdly, is playing Michael Cera, which is kind of funny, given that for years everyone thought the two of them were the same person.
Pretty interchangeable.
Interchangeable. You've got Kristen Stewart, whom I can't tell who in their right mind read the logline for this film and thought that she'd be right for the character she plays, because for one thing, by my count, she'd be about a decade too young. You know, I mean, this is... Yeah, I mean, for machinations that I can't go into plot-wise, she is far, far too young. Physically young, you know, actually young. She's too young for the role she's playing. But
does she work well with Jesse Eisenberg? Like in Adventureland?
I mean, the dynamic between the pair of them initially works, and I think the plot very quickly stifles the dynamic between the pair of them. And I say I can't really go into it for spoiler reasons. Connie Britton is enjoyable in it as well, but the tone is the problem. Nemo Norizada, he starts off with a very wacky, almost Zombieland-like style in the very early stages. Then, save possibly for a sequence in a blacklight enhanced cellar, which is owned by Johnny Legs, because why wouldn't it be?
Yeah.
Save for that sequence, the film is startlingly pedestrian after that. It's wacky and it's in your face and it's got some verve to begin with. You've then got this one sequence, and then over the very end credits you get this sort of animated cartoon-like thing, which suggests that the film had more flair than it did. And the problem is the film doesn't have much flair at all. It very much lacks it. In fact, you want the Bourne identity. What you get is a case of completely missing identity. And because the film does not know what it wants to be, it isn't funny, it isn't exciting, it's really not engaging or interesting.
It's a bit of a mishmash of styles, really.
It really is. And that's disappointing considering what it could have been.
And the marketing campaign has tried its damnedest, I think.
It really has.
Tried to find an audience.
Well, sadly, the marketing, it seems, was a bit overzealous.
Yes, let it down.
It has let it down indeed. Should we do some more film news then?
Yeah, let's do a couple more pieces.
Oh, okay. We've got to talk about Avi Lerner. We've got to talk about him because this guy is hilarious. He really is. Right, Avi Lerner, to those who don't know, is the producer. He's the guy who runs New Image Productions and Millennium Productions, I believe, as well.
Yeah.
And they, of course, are the producers of certain action films like the Expendables trilogy, and most recently, Survivor, the Pierce Brosnan Mila Jovovich action thriller. Which
I've already forgotten it.
Funnily enough, I had as well until this story came about. So I was like, oh yeah, that film that really wasn't particularly any good. Oh. I remember it, yeah. Well, Avi Lerner has made it his mission over the last few years. I say mission, it's like a crusade. He's on like this one-man crusade to rid the world of piracy, but only strangely when it applies to his films.
Yeah, so, if it was Warner's,
his altruism is somewhat suspect given that he only bothers when it's his film.
Somewhat self-serving.
Yes, this is a man who tried to sue hundreds of thousands of people individually, as part of one class suit, for downloading the first Expendables movie. Do you know why?
I remember that, yeah.
Do you remember why he wasn't allowed to go through with the suit in the end?
Tell us why.
Because the judge who was overseeing the case, who was based in DC, decided, hang on, why the hell is my court being used to sue hundreds of thousands of people who don't even live in my district?
That's
what the hell have I got to do with this?
Yeah. So it was thrown out.
It was thrown out. We then, of course, had the Expendables 3 leak last year, which, you know, what the odds that it would happen on the same day the cast are all at Comic-Con?
That's it. And I mean, they were then blaming that happening for a reason that it didn't do well.
Yes.
Well, everybody's already seen it at home.
Yeah, well, Avi Lerner claims that he lost $150 million as a result of that leak. Right. Which is... No, I don't know where you got that figure from, Avi, but no. So he, of course, tried to sue all the torrent sites in the world as well. And, you know, one of them did lay down. That was Played.2. They laid down on the matter. And now, of course, he's going after... I believe it's 6 users of Popcorn Time, which is a torrent streaming service. Have you heard of this?
No, I've not. Is it like a watch movie kind of?
I've never used Popcorn Time.
Or watch free. That's another one.
Well, I've Apple devices, so I can't. I couldn't use Popcorn Time if I wanted to because I have a sense of class and I will never jailbreak an Apple device.
You're a classy broad, man.
I don't want that crappy little Cydia icon on my desktop. No, I have enough icons I can't get rid of on an iPhone. But no, so Popcorn Time, I think it works the same as Kodi or TVMC, where you literally stream a torrent. But I think it actually downloads the torrent as well. I think I read Engadget articles about a year ago. I maybe misremembering it. Well, he's trying to sue those 6 downloaders who are being referred to as John Does 1 to 6 in the legal case. And yes, here's the funny part.
That's like the worst franchise ever.
It really is.
John Doe 12.
It really is. Yeah. But no, the funny part is though that Harvey Lerner has revealed in a statement that he will settle the suit with each one of the 6 John Does, provided they pay $700-something, which conveniently is the very minimum amount of damages you can claim for copyright infringement. So
it's like he almost knows it's going to fail.
He almost knows.
Like Expendables.
Look, I'm trying to prove a point and save piracy, but if I'm really honest, I'll take $700.
Yeah,
I really will.
I'm a cheap date.
He is a cheap date. Right, Annalee Tipton. Are you aware of the actress?
I am indeed.
You are. I'm a big fan of Annalee Tipton.
I know you are. Yes.
You know I am. I have a big thing for Annalee Tipton. Have done ever since Crazy Stupid Love. And I was a very big fan of her in that. And of course, she recently went down in my estimation, having starred in the god-awful Two Night Stand, a movie in which we are genuinely...
Who was in that row? Who else was in that film?
Mr. Teller. Mr. Miles Teller.
Well, I don't mind, but
dead-eyed, dough-faced Miles Teller.
Yeah. This generation's Vince Vaughn.
This generation's Vince Vaughn. Not Vince Vaughn as he was, but very much Vince Vaughn as he is now. Well, Annalee Tipton, his co-star in Two Night Stand, has now signed on to star in the psychological thriller Sadie, which sounds very much like a free holiday pitch when you get to the plot, which is Annalee Tipton, who is a former figure skater and model turned actress, will play a young female novelist who, to celebrate the publication of her latest work, goes away.
Where does she go?
Goes away to an ex-lover's Italian villa where she and a mysterious woman named Charlotte, and this is the weird because no one can answer what this term mysterious woman named Charlotte is actually referring to. She and a mysterious woman named Charlotte find themselves the victims of a psychosexual game heralded by said ex-lover. So
that was unexpected.
That took a twist just telling you out loud.
I thought it was going to be just like an Under the Tuscan Sun kind of thing, but for the Twilight crowd. That's what it was going to be.
This ain't no Diane Lane, man. Filming for Sadie, by the way, begins in Italy in late November, so enjoy the holiday, Annalee.
I hope you have a wonderful trip.
Enjoy it, Annalee. I hope you have a good time. Just please make it better than Two Night Stand. So on to Me and Earl and the Dying Girl, which you were a fan of. You saw
I
this
was
before,
a big fan. I did, yeah. That never seems to happen anymore.
Saw this while I was watching No Escape, because we had 2 preview screenings the same night.
And you were an utter gentleman and let me see this instead of seeing No Escape.
We'll get to No Escape.
We'll get to that.
Don't you worry.
But yeah, this I really enjoyed. So tell us about the premise.
So, Me and Earl and the Dying Girl, which is based on a novel, but I'm now not familiar with the novel, actually. Although, when you watch the film, it does very much feel like it has to have come from a novel.
Well, the guy that's written the screenplay is the guy that did the novel.
That was the point I was going to get to. Right, so this stars Thomas Mann, who you may remember is the lead from Project X. And for some reason, who I keep getting confused with Johnny Simmons, who's the overdose victim that sets off the plot of 21 Jump Street. Yeah. So I keep getting the pair confused. And it's because they're kind of doe-eyed young white kids, you know?
Yeah.
They look basically the same. How's that for reverse racism?
All you white guys look the same.
All you white guys look
like me.
Oh my god, it's Stephen Hawke. Anyway, right. So, Thomas Mann is very much a sort of self-imposed outsider in high school who fancies himself a sort of passing member of every clique. His basic philosophy being be nonchalant and uninvolved with pretty much everyone, and then you're not going to get picked on or isolated because you're basically on the same keel with everybody.
It's a pretty good defense mechanism.
It's a very, very good defense mechanism. He spends his time with his friend Earl in their history teacher's office watching a bizarrely great selection of classic films on YouTube.
Yeah.
His history teacher, incidentally, is played by John Bernthal, who might be the greatest teacher who has ever lived.
Certainly the coolest.
The coolest. And, of course, one day, Thomas... Sorry, what's his name? The character's name? I forget now. I've actually forgotten the character because obviously...
Is it Greg?
It is Greg. It is Greg.
Greg.
Sorry. Yes. So it should be Greg and Earl and the Dying Girl. Never mind.
Yeah. It's because it's me. You just
So one day, Greg's mother, played by, wouldn't you know it, Connie Britton, who's getting around lately. It's almost like she has a successful TV show on the go. Connie Britton, who's his mother, tells him that a friend's daughter who goes to school with him, played by Olivia Cooke, has recently been diagnosed with leukemia, and she'd like him to make an effort and befriend her and make sure she's not on her own. And wouldn't you know, this quickly blossoms into a genuine friendship. Here's a clip.
What group am I in?
What?
Yesterday you were saying you've mapped out the entire high school by group. What's my group?
Seriously?
Yeah.
Boring Jewish senior girls subgroup 2A? Please appreciate how honest that was just now.
You're an asshole. Well, what group are you in?
I'm not in a group, actually. I just wouldn't belong to a group that doesn't suck. You know, I'm terminally awkward and have a face like a little groundhog, so...
You can't really think that.
No, I don't think that.
So me and Earl and the Dying Girl, what do you think, Kase?
I loved this film. It's definitely rocketed up to the top of my list of films so far this year.
So did I, actually. I didn't put it on the best of the year list. I might later on, I don't know.
I'm going to say it's teetering around there.
It's teetering around.
I love it centres around a genuine platonic friendship between a boy and a girl, which is so rare nowadays.
It really is,
especially like around like young teenagers. You just don't see that.
Well, my thought actually watching it was, it's very strange to me that Paper Towns is out at the moment and is getting such praise and is being falsely sort of heralded as, it's the voice of a generation. Like, it's really not. No. This is actually, because this actually in some ways is quite like A Fault in Our Stars, because it has that cancer aspect to it as well, the teen drama cancer
aspect.
Similar in a way, but it also equally owes the same amount of debt to The Perks of Being a Wallflower, for instance. You could almost call this the Perks of Being A Fault in Our Stars. But I very much like Thomas Mann in it. I think he's terrific. I think it's a genuinely brilliant performance. Very much anchors the film. Though there are no weak links in the film, strangely. No. Everything about the film works. John Bernthal and Nick Offerman.
Yeah, they are perfectly cast.
All a great supporting cast. And I forget the name of the actor who plays Earl, because he is absolutely superb.
Well, he's only done a couple of other projects. He's not done that much else, really.
Well, you've got Olivia Cooke as the Dying Girl, naturally.
And she's fantastic.
And she is excellent. So the Dying Girl, Rachel, and it is Greg, by the way. R.J. Seiler is the actor who plays it.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And he's terrific. He's got this brilliantly deadpan performance. Yeah. And it's
great delivery, isn't it? Yeah.
It is, because you sit there, I'm not sure whether... because it could very easily be misconstrued as a comic performance. But I don't think it is a comic performance, in a sense. I think it is more of an intentionally detached, more well-thought-out delivery.
He definitely has some of the most funny bits in the film.
He does, but they're not really delivered as comedy, are they? Yeah. It's like a backhanded level of comedy, in a sense. I would say, you've got Olivia Cooke as Rachel. She's superb, very wide-eyed. She's got the perfect level of sort of broken innocence, in a way, like this sort of innocent life that's just been broken by this disease. And it is very touching, and it is very moving. It doesn't necessarily go to the places you think it will, and then it does, and then it comes back, and then it goes again. And it does take you through the ringer, in a sense. It's not an exciting film, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't call it an exciting film, but it's very well written. It knows its characters. It explores the dynamics between each character perfectly, and you genuinely feel for those relationships.
You do.
But, I liked it. And of course, Nick Offerman's in it, and that's never not a great thing.
Yeah, and he gets to say some fantastic words,
and also,
which is always a good thing for Nick Offerman.
Very true. It is also incredibly cine-literate as regards featuring the work of Werner Herzog, Martin Scorsese, Powell and Pressburger. So you know what, because there was a classic film background to this film as well.
Oh, there is. That's quite a big part.
Very cinephile, very cine-literate
film.
Yeah,
if you ever studied film at university, you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it.
You will, and you will also see a Powell and Pressburger documentary that you will have been made to watch at some point.
Yeah, my fiance watched this film with me. There's a scene where we watch, Aguila, Wrath of God?
Yes.
And Kase had to see that so much. So she kept like nudging me, but Rebens being like, I hate it so much.
The Perks.
But she did love this film, though. She did absolutely love it.
With the latest film news and reviews, this is Offscreen.
And we're back. So, should we look at the Transporter Refuelled?
Yes.
Okay, so this one, I've always been sort of weirded out by the Transporter franchise because it does seem to, it seems like they're making their own cross-platform James Bond franchise. As in, you have the trilogy with Jason Statham, with the Stath, and then you have the TV series, and it's always the same character, it's always Frank Martin. It's always the exact same character with the same origin and everything. You've then got, you've got the TV series which stars, I forget the name of the guy from Prison Break season 3.
I forgot there was even a TV series
there was
right now.
It was, you know, it was a great TV series, a lot of car chases, explosions, and gratuitous nudity.
Like the films.
Kind of, but the TV series took it to a whole other level in which you genuinely could sort of summarise the character simply by the words, "I'm here to save you, please show me your boobs."
So why has it been refuelled?
So now we've got it refuelled, and from having seen the film, I can only imagine the motivation behind rebooting it for the film series has been to do cheap and cheerful car chase thrillers with a younger lead whom you can get more films out of. I think that's the idea, because he's still Frank Martin and he still has the same origin,
right, and
he's still meant to have been retired from the army for nearly 20 years, despite the fact that Ed Skrein
is about 20. He looks about 20.
I bet you if you looked up, he's about 28 or something.
Oh.
But he's got the perma scowl,
yeah,
and the, you know, that sort of brooding look. He always looks like he's about to pose for the cover of Attitude for some reason.
It's the cheekbones.
It's the cheekbones. He looks like, we would just say, he looks like what would happen if you gave Nicholas Hoult the Captain America serum.
Yeah, absolutely. Buffed him up. Yeah.
Right. So, plot this time around. Frank Martin is in the middle of a visit from his retiring father, played by Ray Stevenson. So I'm going to say that again. Ray Stevenson, who at best is pushing 50, is playing the dad of Ed Skrein. Right. When one of his transportation jobs goes awry, Frank discovers his father has been kidnapped by the people who have employed him for his job, and he's forced to do their bidding in inadvertently taking down a southern French, what would you call it, a Riviera-based crime lord who, wouldn't you know it, by complete coincidence...
Are there any Riviera-based crime lords?
Apparently there are, but by complete coincidence, he also happens to be one of Frank's former teammates from his military days, despite the fact that he's about 3 decades older than Frank.
Well, wouldn't you know it?
But here's a clip.
So what's your plan? Well, I was going to keep it as a surprise, but since you asked, I've been thinking about buying that.
That's a nice fishing boat. For a guy with a worker's pension.
Junior, I don't think you have 1 ounce of wriggle room to moralize to me about how I earn my living.
And what do you mean by that?
Oh, nothing. I'm sure all your clients are movie stars, captains of industry, dignitaries.
Well, I don't ask, they don't tell.
That should tell you something. Oh, look, Miss Unknown is calling again.
And what would make you think that Unknown is a miss?
I'm just guessing.
Hello?
This is the transporter.
So is it Ed Skrein? Ed Skrein?
I feel like you've come to me because I might be Oracle.
You are the pronunciation god.
Oracle. Yeah, Skrein is what I've been saying.
Skrein. Okay, we'll go with Ed Skrein.
For now, until somebody proves me wrong, which will happen, I'm sure.
Okay, so let me just give you the pros and cons of Ed Skrein's performance as Frank Martin. The pros are he can wear the black suit. He looks very dashing in his black suits.
Good for him.
He's a very pleasant looking man. He's a very good looking fellow.
Good cheekbones.
Good cheekbones. Excellent cheekbones. And he can very much handle the physical aspects of the role in a manner that actually is almost identical to Statham. His movement, his style of movement, and his actual technique, they've trained him up presumably the same way that Statham was trained up. You know that brilliantly offhand way in which Statham would kick someone? Yeah. Ed Skrein's got that. He's got that down pat. That seems to be the Transporter trademark. Can you do the casual kick?
You do the kick.
Good.
You do the kick, but it's going to be on the eventual DVD cover.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Yeah. No. That's the completely horizontal 21 Jump Street cover kick.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
So let me get to the cons of Ed Skrein's performance, which is he cannot act. Oh. He cannot. He is awful.
I've got a second con. He's not Jason Statham.
Yes, there is that. He is not Jason Statham, and boy, does the film remind you of it constantly. Right. Conceptually, here's the annoying part. Do you remember when I told you that for all its faults, the XXX sequel, State of the Union, is a better movie than XXX?
I do remember that was last week.
That was last week. It was between recording sessions. Right, this very much suffers from that. Conceptually, it is actually one of the better Transporter movies. Conceptually, this is the best one since the first movie. Right? Conceptually, this should be the Transporter's equivalent of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Because what they've got is this brilliant dynamic where you have Frank Martin, the ass-kicking transporter himself, and his dad. Who it turns out...
It's for Sean Connery.
Who it turns out is equally ass-kicking and consistently refers to his son as Junior.
Beautiful. Well,
yes.
That's it.
Now, Ray Stevenson seems to be playing this as if he's a rather portly Roger Moore, because that's the only way to describe his performance. It's like Roger Moore. You've not seen anyone ham it up in this kind of a way since Roger Moore's Bond films. And then you've got Ed Skrein, who, like I say, cannot act to save his life. And it's all put together in the workmanlike yet over-the-top fashion of Luc Besson's tutorship, the latest being Camilla... What's her name? Camilla Delamare, I think her name is. Camilla Delamare?
I'm not sure.
Camille Delamare. Camille Delamare. We're going to go with that.
Let's have a look.
Camille do you want to look at the screen?
Yeah.
Camille Delamare.
We'll go with that. Camille Delamare.
Okay. Right. As I say, conceptually brilliant. The problem is, it's basically the two central performances because the film is actually entertaining. Unlike, say, for instance, Transporter 3, which was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Transporter 3 was groan-inducing, and that had Statham in it. I can only imagine a version of this film starring Jason Statham and Bob Hoskins, which would have been possibly the greatest action.
That's incredible. Hoskins as the dad.
Imagine that. We miss you, Bob. We really miss you. But yeah, if you'd made this 5 years ago, which incidentally is when the film is set, for some bizarre reason which makes no sense, and believe me, in terms of logic leaps, this film really takes the biscuit. This is a film in which you have to have someone's PIN number in order to transfer the money. Seriously, that's actually saying.
What? Why?
Hey, Kase, I owe you £10. Can I have your PIN number? It's that kind of logic that actually happens in this film. You know what I mean? It starts off in 1995 and then says 15 years later, and everyone's walking around with this year's iPhone. You know, it's that kind of, and everyone's got the same exact iPhone. It's noticeable because everyone's got the same iPhone. You're like, really? But you know, that's nitpicking. We don't go there. As I say, the problem really are the two performances. You've got that Roger Moore performance from Ray Stevenson. You've got the awful performance.
That's the only way to categorise it.
There's no other way to say it. He's just terrible. He is awful.
That's a shame. I've been wanting him to get a franchise, and I know he's got Deadpool. He's going to be the bad guy in Deadpool.
He's going to be the bad guy in Deadpool.
Which is interesting.
But the thing is, because the film is don't get me wrong, it's dunderheaded. It really is. Because it's as mindlessly entertaining as it is. You kind of let it slide. You do. You kind of let it go, and you come out of it and go, you know what? If they're just going to chuck out one of those every couple of years, I'll take it, and it'll just be the recurring gag that he's awful in it.
Yeah.
We'll stick with it because we love Audi's personal war against Fiat, because that's what those movies amount to. It's always the same: an Audi driving along, smashing up Fiat police cars.
Yeah, weirdly.
Every time a new transport movie is announced, someone at Fiat commits suicide. That someone in Fiat's marketing department hangs themselves. That's what happens every time a new transport movie is announced. However, you know what? The film is not worth hanging yourself. The film is mindlessly... It's a beer and pizza movie. No selling it short there.
Just watch it at home when it's on Netflix.
That's
maybe.
it.
Yeah.
Get wasted, then watch it. You'll probably love it. I spent all afternoon coming up with who could play Statham's dad. Seriously. And Bob Hoskins is
See,
the
we
only
do
person.
work quite hard for the show. Yeah.
We really do. So some film news then. Nicholas Hoult, who we just mentioned, of course.
Oh, yeah, he's now been transformed.
He's going to be J.D. Salinger in the upcoming biopic Rebel in the Rye, to be written by Danny Strong as his... That's also his directorial
debut, yeah.
My favourite biopic news, of course, being that Josh Gad is going to play Roger Ebert in a movie directed by Michael Winterbottom of The Look of Love, which we're specifically referencing that.
Partridge Stuffing, yeah.
But I'm mentioning Look of Love because it's going to the style of that is going to make sense in a second. In a film which will also star Will Ferrell, or Will Ferrell, if you believe the Casa de Mi Padre marketing, as Russ Meyer in the comedy Russ and Roger. I can't wait for that. It sounds amazing.
I can already picture the creepy mustache on Will Ferrell's face.
Oh god,
right
he needs the handlebar is what he needs. He needs some handlebars and flares. Right, okay, before we talk more biopics, Fox are doing a remake. I can't figure this one out.
Because Fox.
Fox are doing a remake of Oh Heavenly Dog, the 1980 comedy in which Chevy Chase was killed, returned to Earth as a dog.
Was that Chevy Chase? Or
that was Chevy Chase.
There's a similar Tim Allen
vehicle as well. That's the Shaggy Dog.
That's the Shaggy
Dog. That's where where they actually...
we know our family dog pictures.
We know our family dog pictures. Funnily enough, there's a third family dog picture to discuss this week, named Archie, but there's a full stop between every letter of it. It's going to be directed, it's going to be the directorial debut of TV actor Robin Dunn, who you may also remember as
What has Robin done?
What has Robin done? Robin Dunn has done the lead role in Cruel Intentions 2 Manchester Prep, yo!
Oh, no way.
Totes.
Totes, bro, totes.
Actually, I think Cruel Intentions is a bit before the totes era, I would say.
Yeah.
But yes, Archie is a
Totes.
cybernetically created dog. He's created in a lab by a military scientist played by Catherine Isabel. How weird is that?
I don't know who that is.
Catherine Isabel from Ginger Snaps. Remember?
Oh, yeah. Ginger Snaps.
Which was actually quite impressive in that. Yeah. She was also American Mary, which is a film I had not seen until John Dickens bought me the DVD for Christmas. And rightly so as well. It was a very good film. Catherine Isabel plays a scientist who creates Archie, a robotically enhanced, super strong dog with the power of speech and a voice provided by Michael J. Fox. When the military shuts down the project, Archie is released into the wild, where he stumbles into a small town in search of a new family and stumbles across the child of the town mayor. Can you see where this may go?
Yeah, I certainly can.
Yes. There you go. So that's Archie. That's the rights to that are being sold at the Toronto Film Festival.
I love that Stuart Little is going to have the same voice as Robotic Dog. That's great.
What else we got? Okay, biopic news again then. The Richard Pryor biopic.
I love this
To
news.
be directed by Lee Daniels.
Yeah.
To be written by Danny Strong.
Because we're best friends.
Yeah. To star Mike Epps, a.k.a. Black Doug from The Hangover, as Richard Pryor, in a movie which will also feature Kate Hudson as Jennifer Lee Pryor, Eddie Murphy as Richard Pryor's father, and Oprah Winfrey as his grandmother. This is going to be awesome.
That's shaping up.
That is, I'm sorry if that's not, forget, to hell with Straight Outta Compton. This is the biopic I want to see. But, yeah. Anyway, about Straight Outta Compton, because we've got to mention this one. You mentioned this in passing, actually, during the week. The producer, one of the co-executive producers of Straight Outta Compton, a man named S. Lee Savage.
Good name.
Look how it's spelled. Savage. DGE.
Savage.
Yeah. He has written a book, you see, which has subsequently spawned a documentary. It's called Welcome to Death Row, which is about Death Row Records, which is, of course, set up. It's a plot element in Straight Outta Compton. And, of course, Death Row Records famously had under its label the likes of Snoop Dogg, Tupac.
Knight,
he was the overlord, wasn't he?
He was.
Sugar Knight?
Yeah.
Because it's spelled Suge.
It's spelled Suge, but it's
spelled
Sugar. Yeah.
Sugar.
He's not a good person.
He's not, and he's portrayed thusly in Straight Outta Compton. Yeah. Funnily enough, he's one of the few people who actually gets depicted in a bad light in Straight Outta Compton. So he's pitching his Welcome to Death Row book and documentary in a package that basically sells it as a potential sequel to Straight Outta Compton. Which, you were very aware of this because you told me. Yeah. So I think that could turn out right. Do you think they should keep the casting?
I would like them to keep the casting.
I think they should get as much
I really
of
like
the
Keith Stanfield. I think it's Stanfield. I think he's the guy playing Snoop. I like him a lot. Yeah.
I forget the name of the guy who played Tupac, but he was such a spitting image for Pac. It was unreal.
Really?
But, I mean, my favourite one about that is when we ran the news article in the week, we used an actual picture of Snoop and Tupac.
Yeah, I saw that.
And someone from a Tupac fan site liked it on Instagram and put, what a beautiful picture you've made. I don't think they realised it was real.
Would you, draw it or something?
I don't know. I think they thought it'd been photoshopped, but it was real. It was a real picture.
Hologram.
One final piece then. Vincent Cassell is the villain of the Newborn movie. Do you know what?
I'm all in.
It's such natural casting, isn't it?
It is. I can't believe that hasn't been done for the other ones.
It's like, hang on. Did you have that moment as well where you're like, hang on, didn't we have... No, we haven't. Because it seems so obvious that you think we must have had it at some point.
We need Vincent Cassell as an assassin.
We do.
We're going to have it.
We need him as Evil Born. Because wasn't that what Carl Urban was? Carl Urban was the Evil Born, wasn't he?
Yeah. But this is going to be like Evil European Born.
Yeah, I can go with this.
It's going to be a good cast. Tommy Lee Jones is in it.
I know. I mean, Alicia Vikander, always a fan.
Oh, man, yeah.
Julia Stiles. It'd be nice to see her back, isn't
Absolutely.
it? Can we get Julia Stiles back in other films that aren't Born, though, as well? Because that would be nice. I miss Julia Stiles.
So do I.
She was good in Dexter. She was in Dexter for a while.
Yeah,
that was enjoyable. Should we do the box office top 10 then?
Let's do the top 10.
Crank out, there was 10.
Crank
them out.
Filthy.
That'd be better if there was a Crank sequel
in
the top 10.
If it was Crank 10.
Alright, so top 10, let's go.
Number 10.
A brand new entry, 45 years.
Which neither of us have seen because
Sadly
it wasn't
not.
released at the multiplex. I think it's only the showroom in Sheffield showing it.
I believe so.
But,
I've heard good things.
I hear excellent things. I hear Charlotte Rampling is amazing in it.
I like Tom Courtenay.
Tom Courtenay. Oh, he is Tom Courtenay now, not Tom Conti.
Not Tom. Yeah, he's back.
You're confusing
I
your
kept saying
Toms.
I am getting my Toms confused.
Not Tom Courtenay. Tom Courtenay Lee Jones. That's
Tom
something I've heard.
That doesn't work.
That doesn't work at all.
Number 9.
I am going to watch it this week. Minions,
which I have had the chance to rewatch, and I still liked it as much on home release. I thought it was a lot of fun. I do think it is an all-round family entertainment film. I think as soon as Secret Life of Pets opens, everyone's going to forget about Minions entirely.
It's going to make my life so much better.
But the Minions are still lovable. They're still a lot of fun. They've still got that great Jeffrey Rush narration. The comedy works. Alison Janney's great in it. Michael Keaton's great in it. What's not to love?
Number 8.
Moving down, Paper Towns. I didn't mean for that to rhyme, but it did.
Moving down, Paper Towns. Bingo announcer, you.
I know, yeah.
Which, as I say, I liked. I think the second half's better than the first half. Nat Wolff is a better performer than Cara Delevingne is. I think she's been really oversold in this
She's
film.
a model/actress, isn't she? To quote Zoolander.
Yes, that's very much the case. And it's interesting to me that Halston Sage, who plays her friend, is a better performer than the much-lauded star. Didn't really buy into that aspect of it, but the film itself is more of a sort of modern John Hughes type affair. Starts out as a sort of suburban mystery, goes to full-on road trip mode. What's not to enjoy?
Number 7.
Moving down again, rhymes with Sinister Pooh. Sinister 2.
Again, you bingo announcer. You.
I know. I'm trying to rhyme them all.
It's rubbish. There's nothing much more to say about it than that. It's a rubbish cash-in horror sequel, borrows elements of a billion other horror films. It relies too heavily on jump scares.
Yeah, last 15 minutes.
And the last 15 minutes, I take it you saw the film. Yeah. Those last 15 minutes, my God. Wow. Yeah. Here's the end of your movie. It happens off-screen. What? What?
What? What now?
Yeah, this makes no sense whatsoever.
No, and neither will Sinister 3 either.
Which rhymes with Sinister P.
Number 6.
Man from U.N.C.L.E. I enjoy this very, very much.
As did I. Yeah. I just say I don't think it's got the ramping momentum of Kingsman. I don't think it's as fun as Kingsman. To be honest,
it's not got the longevity of Bourne or
Bond. But it is slick and glossy and sexy and suave, and the comedy aspect works. Yeah. I was talking to Lee Ford earlier, who was talking about how much he enjoyed the very overplayed homoeroticism of the film, and I was like, yeah, there is that, but
that is some chemistry.
that sort of balances it out with the Alicia Vikander Army Hammer slathering that is dotted throughout, which is really in your face. I mean, the marketing played on it quite a bit.
Yeah, but what would you do if you were in the presence of
if I had to strap a wire to Alicia Vikander's inner thigh? I don't want to discuss it on radio, to be honest. No. Maybe later, after a few drinks.
After a few drinks, yeah.
Number 5.
All right, we have Pixels next.
Pixels, which has gone up a spot. It went down. It went up one. And
it's kids' holidays, I guess. It's coming towards the end, yeah.
Coming again.
There's not that much for the kids as well.
There isn't, strangely. Although Inside Out hasn't seemingly budged in ages now.
Because it's great.
And it's also been out for like 6 weeks Inside Out. But so, Pixels, which, as I say, is a perfect all-round family film, family fantasy film. Directed by Chris Columbus, who knows how to do this stuff.
He knows that kind of material, doesn't he? Yeah.
And I mean, it's very intentional. They have gotten, as they proclaim on the poster, the director of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
Yeah.
But Adam Sandler, who's obviously part of an ensemble this time around, is downplaying it somewhat. It works a lot better. Josh Gad gets a chance to shine. And to be fair, Peter Dinklage ranks out as one of the worst elements of the plot, which is something I never thought I would get to say.
Number 4.
Where is Hunt? Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. Yeah, great, amazing.
He is
Can't
the
wait for
manifestation of destiny. Case.
Where is Hunt?
Alec Baldwin in Mission Impossible Rogue Nation is the greatest supporting role anyone is putting into a tentpole movie this year.
I hope he comes back for sequels.
I really do. I want him added to the Mission Impossible roster. I want him back.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
But we've been burned before. We all thought Larry Fishburne was coming back.
True.
Wasn't happening. And now, of course, we got rid of... who was the supervisor, the secretary in the last movie?
What, in 4?
In Ghost Protocol, the one who was killed. He was killed, obviously, and now we've got Alec Baldwin.
Tom Wilkinson.
Tom Wilkinson.
Yeah. He was in that film for literally 30 seconds.
It was.
Yeah.
It's a shame because he is part of an all-round excellent film. Tom Cruise is on form. Rebecca Ferguson steals the show in that great feminist 2015 action movie sort of a way, which is Something no one saw
Mad
coming.
Max Fury Road, that's it.
Yep, and also Hitman, because the girl steals that one as well. But never mind. So, sorry, boys. It seems women own the action in 2015, and if Mission Impossible is anything to go by, I don't think that's a shame at all.
No. Number 3.
And speaking of a Hitman Agent 47.
Which is, you know what, it's moronic, it's idiotic, but you know what, it's basically enjoyable.
Yeah. And we've got Siler back.
Yeah, we got Siler back. And it's nice to see Zach Quinto in a straight real-world to action film, even though it's a sort of heightened real world, science fiction enhanced real world. But I liked it. I liked Rupert Friend. He grew on me over time. he is ridiculously out of character as this central figure. Yeah. But Hannah Ware, I like Hannah Ware very much as a female lead, and I would like to see her in more things.
Number 2.
Inside Out from Pixar. Is that number 2 still?
Inside Out from Pixar.
I know. I don't know why I said it like that, but there we are.
But I'm going to let you talk about this one, because you have a much more passionate view on this film than I do, strangely.
Yeah, you do like it.
I do like it.
Yeah.
But I think with Pixar, I have trouble selling praising a Pixar movie more than Up.
That's it. That is one of their pinnacles. For me, this does still. Yeah?
It set the bar too high.
It is, really did. Absolutely. But no, I think that it actually ranks up there with Up and with certainly films like WALL-E. Absolutely. I think the cast is fantastic. Lewis Black, we've spoken about at great length, how great he is for Anger. Would like to see more Bill Hader, as we've said, as well.
Do you think we'll get a sequel to this one?
I don't think we'll get a sequel. I think we'll get a couple of shorts, and I'm okay with that. I don't really like Pixar doing sequels.
I don't. I prefer the idea of shorts. I do.
Yeah, I think that's if you've got little things to say.
I don't think we need Outside In released in cinemas anytime soon.
No.
Number 1.
And straight in at number 1, straight out of Compton.
Straight in at number 1, straight out of Compton. Right, this obviously is very oversold as a film, I think. I mean, it's phenomenally successful, and I'm sure it deserves to be. It is very enjoyable, and I have to stress, I did enjoy it. I don't think... Did you get to see it in the end?
I've still not seen it.
You've still not seen it? Because I've been having trouble getting a seat in a screening.
I was quite burned last Friday.
No, it's very popular. I think the problem is there is an Emperor's New Clothes effect with it. There is an element of hip-hop fandom who would just willingly take anything. And I think that's a real shame, because it oversells a film that has problems. It is enjoyable, and it is a good experience watching it. But I think it doesn't match up to the reality, and also narratively, it is very, very flawed. I mean, this is a film flawed by, almost after the fact, by its own creative team, who feel the need to add marketing before and after the film, as part of the film.
Oh, the Beats headphones and
things like that. Hey, here's our story of how we spoke with the voice of an unspoken minority. Now let's sell some headphones. No.
Yeah. I've got $5 million.
We got $1 billion, but...
Yeah, that's sorry, billion. Yeah, $5 billion.
And then you get to the idea that I can't help but think that Dr. Dre seems to genuinely believe that a hardcore aspect, a serious central aspect of his rise from the ghetto, as he would like to think it, is that the white man tried to stifle him out of some money. And you're like, no, this isn't the plot. The plot is your impact on the world around you.
But that's not a film that he's going to be the producer for.
It really
That'll be something that will be made in the future.
And I'm more interested in that version of Straight Outta Compton. I am. I'm more interested in the exterior, the outside influence made.
Yeah.
Some more film news then, Mr. Allen.
Yes, let's have it.
So, okay, we have to talk about the Marvel story.
We have to, yeah.
We have to, which is that Kevin Feige, who runs Marvel Studios...
is now the king.
Is now the king of Marvel.
Of the world, I would say.
Effectively.
King of films.
Because what no one seems to ever realise with Marvel Studios is that Marvel Studios don't just make their films. They answer to a higher power, as it were.
Yeah.
Ike Perlmutter, who is the head of Marvel Entertainment, which, of course, oversees Marvel Comics, Marvel Studios...
Marvel TV.
Marvel TV. I mean, is it actually called that? Or is it Marvel Studios TV division?
I think it's the TV division.
And, the toy department, all the rest of it.
All the stuff.
So, realistically, the toy department has no more power than Marvel Studios did. Which is kind of depressing when you sit and think about it. Now, the story has emerged that Kevin Feige has ousted Ike Perlmutter by going and reporting directly to Alan Horn at Disney. So Marvel Studios don't report to Marvel anymore. Yeah. They report to Disney. They now have autonomy. They can do whatever they like.
Straight to Alan Horn, straight to Bob Iger, essentially.
Exactly. Yeah. And this apparently is due to... Apparently there were disagreements regarding meddling, specifically in Age of Ultron. and the reception, the lower key reception than expected for Age of Ultron, and also certain meddling that was attempted for Captain America: Civil War.
Budgetary things.
Budgetary
really.
things as well seem to be an issue because Ike Perlmutter is apparently a bit eccentric.
Quite frugal as well.
And also quite frugal. And he also has, it's now come to light as well, he made some comments in the company of others that, let's just say, aren't acceptable in the 21st century.
No.
Let's just politely say that. And
Make of that what you will.
If I just tell you that they related specifically to Don Cheadle and Terrence Howard, you can pretty much hazard a guess what
Pretty
kind
sure he
of
said
thing
something
he said.
about Black Widow and...
that was Girls Don't Sell Toys.
That was it, yeah. We can't do too many Black Widow toys.
We can't do Black Widow
just
toys
won't
because
sell.
girls don't sell toys.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Well, that's the kind of guy, and now we don't really have to think about him.
Now we
anymore.
don't have to worry about him ever again. But,
Great.
He's only got. Do you know what they should do? Give him the Fantastic Four because
just run it into the ground.
Give him vacancy. We got Fantastic Four back. Here you go, Ike.
Yeah.
So of course, then we also have to talk about this is the final, and this is the most heart-wrenching news of the week. And this, for most people, started Sunday morning off on a really sour note. We have sadly lost Wes Craven. Wes Craven is no longer with us. He died Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
Age 76.
Which isn't really that... It's not really that old. That's quite young, really. And
that's the thing as well. I mean, he had brain cancer as well.
Yeah, which was quite quiet.
He kept that very, very quiet. And because... there is one thing with Wes Craven having passed away, which is I'm now really, really glad he made Scream 4. I don't like Scream 4. But I'm really, really glad he made it because I wouldn't want to have lived in a world in which I could genuinely say Wes Craven, whose final film was my soul to take.
Yeah. Well, was that and somebody else would have done Scream 4 and done a worse job.
Yeah, for better or worse, Scream 4 is what it is.
But he's given us countless classics. He's given us some stinkers, but I mean...
He's given us some stinkers,
but
for the record, I like Shocker more than most people do.
Oh, Shocker.
He did, however, also make Vampire in Brooklyn, so...
Yeah.
And then, of course...
Nobody needs that.
That's true. You go through the iconic ones, though, which are Last House on the Left, The Hills Have Eyes, Nightmare on Elm Street, New Nightmare, Scream, and let's forget there was a Scream 2 and 3. For my money, I'd go with that. I didn't really like Scream 2 or 3.
I don't mind
or 4, really.
But I don't think 4's that bad. I don't like the kind of like knowing wink, everybody's got a product by Apple.
It was the 9 intros to Scream 4, I think, that did my nut.
Oh yeah, Kristen Bell.
The 9 intros really just annoyed me, I think, after a while. It's like, the gag works.
It kind of stunk of like a studio getting involved and being like, we need to relate to the young people, and everyone's on YouTube and Facebook. It kind of stunk of that a little bit.
I am kind of glad, though, that Scream 4 existed before there was Snapchat. Let's just...
Scream 5, we'll wait.
Yeah, exactly. But Scream 5, I think that'll be the serial killer comes through Snapchat kind of an affair. But right, we should plug our competitions, of course.
Let's do it. What have we got up on there?
Oh, we've got a lovely one this next week coming up for the Maze Runner.
The Scorch Trials.
For the Scorch Trials.
Yeah.
Although if you've seen the trailer, apparently it's been so long since we've seen anyone survive the Scorch. You're like, well, thanks for ruining the ending of that film. But yes, the Maze Runner, the Scorch Trials, which is out next Thursday, which is, I believe, what date is next Thursday?
The 10th?
The 10th? I want to say the 10th. It is, in fact, the 10th. So Thursday the 10th.
That was a stab in the dark.
Maze Runner Scorch Trials is out in 2 and 3, I think. We have Maze Runner sets to give away on the site this week, so pop over to onscreenfilm.com, go in our competition section, or they'll be on the front page.
Yeah, you'll find
and there's an entry form on there. Go nuts. You don't even have to answer a question. Just give us your name.
We're just giving stuff away.
We're just giving it away. But we're not just giving away any old rubbish. Because for Maze Runner, Scorch Trials, they've given us a set which is kind of cool. It's got patches, the sort of the logo patches and everything on their clothing. You got that. There is a rather funky Maze Runner keychain, notebook as well. A survival kit, which is very, very ominous. It comes in a sort of cylindrical container. And of course you get a t-shirt with it as well, because you should be wearing it when you go and see the Maze Runner. Why not? I dress up like a wizard whenever they open a new Harry Potter movie. And I legitimately...
Yeah, but Harry Potter is a franchise.
That's
Maze
very
Runner
true.
is not a franchise.
Maze Runner is a franchise. There's a third one to come.
It is a mess.
Don't sell it too short. This is a promotion case.
but it's free, so who cares?
It's free. Enter. Win some swag. One final review for the week then, Mr. Allen. What do you have for me?
Well, Mr. Connor.
Oh, God,
we
no.
have No escape.
It's no escape, isn't it?
It's no escape. So it's Owen Wilson on Behind Enemy Lines 2, The Family Vacation, as you titled it for me.
I did. It is Behind Enemy Lines 2, The Family Vacay.
Yeah.
Right, okay. I'm not going to give it the credibility of calling it a vacation.
No.
Right. Best described as a zombie movie without zombies. Right. This is the story of an American expat family who venture out to a notably unnamed Southeast Asian country for their father's new employment with a local water supply company named Cardiff, strangely. No sooner do they get there, however, than a civil uprising begins. And
who would have thought it?
I know, and the locals decide they are going to kill all the white people in Southeast Asia. But that's not awful, though, because it turns out there's only about 4 of them. So there's only about 4 white people in Southeast Asia, if you believe this. Sorry, no, hang on. No, you've got the family, Pierce Brosnan. Family, Pierce Brosnan, and 2 other guys who stay at the hotel. There are 8. There are 8 white people in Southeast Asia, and they're all going to die because the locals have turned. Here's a clip.
We gotta get over to that roof.
What? No way.
Annie, listen to me. Over there, we have a chance.
Over there, we don't know if over there they're gonna be the same kind of people.
All I know is we gotta keep putting 10 steps between us and them, okay? You're gonna jump first, then I'm gonna throw the kids over one at a time. Then I'm gonna follow, okay? Come on, you can do this.
Okay, how?
Come on, Ready? Go! So she can do it. Go.
So yes, Owen Wilson's back doing thrillers again.
Oh, that sounds intense.
There really is no escape. Right, as I say, I mean, I'm just going to make this one short and sweet. It's a film that's marketed itself on the same just show the setup kind of marketing hook that they used for Taken a few years ago. Remember when the Taken trailer came out and it was just the phone call bit?
Yeah.
And you didn't know from that trailer that it was going to be this badass, rip-roaring action movie. Well, they're trying to do the same thing here, only Taken was a good movie. This is not in any way a good movie. This is, in fact, rather dunderheaded and rather kind of, well...
What is Pierce Brosnan doing?
Well,
Best Survivor, The November Man...
Can I save Pierce Brosnan for a minute?
Please.
I want to save Pierce Brosnan for a minute. I want to let's just take him here, put him in our pocket. We'll take him out in a moment.
Stay there, Bond. Stay there.
So, you got Owen Wilson and Lake Bell, who, they're likeable enough as the sort of parent figures. And Owen Wilson's just doing more of that Behind Enemy Line shtick, and Lake Bell is just doing a relatively thankless, I'm going to do some sweating and still try and look nice kind of a performance.
Well, I'm sure that she does.
I'm sure, from your perspective, she would achieve the job
Absolutely.
very well. Yeah. But that's the thing. The central family don't really have much in the way of character. I mean, the kids in particular are really badly drawn. I mean, this is the sort of movie in which the older 2 of the 2 little girls continuously asks, can you tell me about the day I was born? And you're like, haven't we got other problems? What the hell is wrong with you?
I'm trying to fight with a foreigner.
Yeah, you want Bernie Mac to appear, slap her over the back and go, what's wrong with you? In that way that Bernie Mac did so well.
Oh, I miss Bernie Mac.
I do.
This show has just made me sad because we no longer have Bob Hoskins. We no longer have Wes Craven.
Bernie Mac. Yeah. Weirdly, with a slightly higher level of screenwriting, with a slightly more upper echelon level of screenwriting, this would have been something akin to, say, a late 80s Kevin Costner vehicle. Something like that. But it isn't, and because it's such a nuts and bolts sort of a tale, it is literally, you could put this together with an Allen key kind of a film. And then you've got this by the numbers level of character writing, and you're just uninvolved to an almost to a very detrimental level. You are uninvolved, and then you've got Pierce Brosnan, who I'm now going to take out of our pocket. We're going to put him back on the table.
Oh, Pierce, hi, nice to see you.
Hello, Pierce. Welcome to the table. And he perks things up just a little bit by really just relishing what he's got, chewing the scenery, and he's this Mockney mercenary type. Who may or may not be like a former government agent or something like that, but it's kind of weird because he plays this sort of this expat stereotype so well and with such fun and swagger that you kind of like, wow, like Brosnan's the best thing in this movie. What the hell's that about? But yeah,
I do like him. I just think he's had a weird, interesting
very,
year.
very weird career. He will always be Remington Steele to me. However, we should talk about the film itself, which is right. It is just about entertaining, right? Just about, but that is. Right, that's not really praise, if I'm honest. I can't call that praise. It's the only redeeming thing you can say about this film, which is just incredibly ignorant about the world around it. It is xenophobic to an almost terrifying degree.
Well, I think we can get that.
I mean, like I said, it's a zombie movie without zombies, as in
zombie foreigners.
The indigenous residents of this fictional, well, not fictional, unnamed,
yeah,
because it was filmed in Thailand, and the Thai government specifically said, "Please take our name off the film. We don't want people thinking that's
Call
us."
it something else. Lyland.
Exactly. Although it shares a river border with Vietnam, so it doesn't take much to figure that one out. Basically, you're so uninvolved, you're so sort of bored and numbed by it that you regret that Owen Wilson has taken this stab at the genre again after a decade and a half. You kind of wish you never thought you'd say it, but you want him to go back to comedy and dramedies again.
Yeah,
and you're like, oh, really? Because I really like Behind Enemy Lines.
I can't think of any other kind of action thrillers that he's done.
No, that's it. That and this. That's it. And it's 14 years in between them. If there were a shred of thought to it, it would be a really solid thriller. But there is no level of thought to it. The best thing I can say about it, in terms of describing it, is, and this refers to a line that Pierce Brosnan's character constantly refers back to, and this is, bear in mind, we're talking about a Mockney drunk who keeps talking about having better days. And that's what you walk away with. Yeah, I wish we'd had better days, Pierce. I wish we'd had better days. Either way, it is not the film of the week.
No, but what is the film of the week?
I think we agree on this one, actually.
Pretty unanimously, Me and Earl and the Dying Girl.
Yeah, Me and Earl and the Dying Girl is film of the week. Hands down. Yeah. And I'm sorry, Ed Screen, but your perma scowl will not save you from this one.
No.
So, I mean, next week's going to be interesting. Next week we get not one Tom Hardy, but two. We get Legend next week.
I'm looking forward to it.
I am as well.
Yeah.
More than Tom Hardy, I'm looking forward to seeing Christopher Eccleston in a movie again. Cause...
Oh, that'll be good, yeah.
Is it me?
There's not a really poor Marvel sequel.
No, exactly.
He was
Malekith,
wasn't he?
You forget he was even in that.
Makeup and... Yeah.
And that was originally Mads Mikkelsen.
Who's going to be Doctor Strange.
So, of course, we've got Legend next week. We've got Maze Runner: The Scorch Trials. See our competition on onscreenfilm.com.
I'm sure it's good. I'm trying to dig myself out of the grave.
I have real issues with the Maze Runner, but a lot of them have to do with real world sensibilities and not the sensibilities of the film. But
we'll see. We might be surprised.
We have also got a Woody Allen movie next week starring Joaquin Phoenix
and
Emma Stone. This is her second Woody Allen movie in a row, isn't it?
Bit of a partnership now.
Which did Magic in the
Moonlight with Colin Firth.
That was last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, because he generally does like one a year now, doesn't he?
He does one a year, yeah. And so this is Emma Stone's second Woody Allen film after Magic in the Moonlight. This is Irrational Man with Joaquin Phoenix. And of course, the return of Night Shyamalan. Night with the found footage horror thriller, The Visit. And that is upon us next week as well. So all those to come and more next week off screen. This has been a Candy Store production for On Screen. I've been Van Connor.
My name is Kase, and we will be back next week.
Just show me the way to get out of here, and I'll be on my way.
You've been listening to Off Screen. For more news and reviews, visit onscreenfilm.com.
Okay, cut. That's a wrap.
And I'm Chris Watson, but I arrived too late to be in the show.